Good morning, my creative collective. Welcome to your June 15th reading. So we are going to dive right in and see where this takes us. I'm doing this in the early morning on the day of because I've just been super busy. And so we're going to dive right in here. So I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space, and I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, let us dive in here. Yeah, yesterday was just a busy day, and then I don't know if it's allergies or what, but my eyes have been really dry, so staring at screens for too long, I'm just trying to be mindful of that because it means that you don't blink as much. So it's just, anyways, no complaints though. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for June 15th? This wonderful Wednesday after the Sagittarius full moon, which feels delightful. All the Sag in my chart is like lighting up like a freaking Christmas tree. And the Gemini as well. It's such a good time. Okay, let me see where I'm going to move this and not smack it. We'll do this over here. I'm very expressive, so I'm aware that I have like a radius. Okay, so what does this say here? Hidden treasure. Oh, I like that. Dearest you, since you're on Earth, you understand how buildings are built, yes? A good, solid foundation and yet flexibility, too, in case of earthquakes. Truth be told, you can't offer something sustainable unless it is built from a solid base, whether it be an idea that takes form one step at a time, or an actual house that needs a sturdy foundation dug, poured, and built. We want to remind you of this because you might need a little encouragement to see this is true in your life at this time. Celebrate the fact that right now you can repair the cracks in the foundation of your life effortlessly, as well as do a general sight check to ensure your hard work is being well supported. Do this now and know you are building your life on a perfect and solid foundation that will allow you to welcome the many miracles waiting to come visit. We're so happy for you and so intrigued by what you're building. Oh, I like that a lot. That's delightful. Okay, let's dive in here and see where this takes us, shall we? Yeah, it's really early. The robins are the only thing that are up with me. No, I'm kidding. Probably more of that. The beauty of taking tea is transitioning, but sometimes the tough part that I'm finding now is like these growing pains. So I feel like I'm like 10 and 12 all over again. Not in some ways, thankfully not, but just it's so wild to me. The body is such a beautiful thing, you know, like even in the aches and all of that, there's something really beautiful about it. Just being able to, I don't know, translate energy into being who you are. Like it just is amazing. Anyways, I digress. 333 was just on the time. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective for June 15th, please? 9 of Pentacles. There you are. 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Cups. 6 of Swords. 4 of Swords. King of Cups. 7 of Wands. Magician. The World. Knight of Wands. A little bit of like back and forth energy today. That's okay though. I'll explain how it's coming across that way. I mean, of course I will. Can you imagine if I'm like, okay, there's your reading. Bye. 9 of Pentacles. So I think that you're showing up in a really confident place. Not just confidence, but this is like a pentacle that is kind of married to a deep knowing of oneself and understanding where you are, right? Like I think about at the end of the summer last year, I had the garden out back, and it was like overflowing with like the sage had gotten huge, and then the parsley was massive as well, even though the rabbits made short work of it in the spring. And you know, it's just like more tomatoes than what I could really do anything with. And I ended up having to give them away because I can't eat that many of them, which is fine. But it's like this fruitful time, this fruitful time. Um, hmm And okay. So what just came to mind, and there's a reason for this, is this like so vegetables and fruits, the ways that they are identified is the fact that fruits have seeds. And this is very interesting. So it's almost like the subtle differences in things where you thought one thing was one thing, like it was a thing on your path or what have you, and then it actually ends up being something else. Like people's minds are blown when I'm like, a cucumber is a fruit because it has seeds. When I found this out, I was like, no, that's wrong. So I Googled it. I'm like, holy shit. So it's like 555 on the time. So that's like, it's like this shift, like this perspective shift of like how things are. But I think it's not something that like rocks you to your core. I think it like captures your attention. Like you're just doing your thing, and then you see something and you're like, wait, what? Oh my God. Yeah. Wait, no. Okay. You have my attention, like that kind of energy. And I think these beautiful threes, things have been showing up in threes a lot lately. 3333 or 333, and there's threes here. This implies some kind of collaborative work, but I think this is like foundation building, right? Like this is like putting in the work and then the success that comes from it. This is like basic bonding. I think basic bonding, like bonding in celebration and bonding in work. This is also like feedback that you can get and give as well. And this is like celebratory feedback, right? So there's like this foundation building, which is very on point with this postcard. So I think that the energy that could become a tower, if it's not really tended to and worked with and discharged and, cultivated and all of that stuff, is the Six of Swords, which is interesting because it's a moving away energy. So it's almost like it could be travel to, but what I'm getting here is this sense of like moving away from something. Now the reason why I'm getting this could be a tower, I think, is if you're not tending to, it's like rest is here. Forgive me, but I think that if you're not tending to rest, that can become its own thing. But then I think that this Six of Swords can represent not leaving things quickly or leaving things in the dust, but just not looking at where you've come from and how far you've come, and the gratitude in that. The gratitude for that. You're going to hear the train going through town because it is early, if you can see my watch. So I'm getting that this is like moving away from things without really taking a stock of them, and just allowing yourself to feel the feels of gratitude, and just to give yourself a moment to reflect, right? Just give yourself a moment to reflect. And I think the antagonist here, it could be your emotions kind of running away with you. This King of Cups energy. I'm remiss to say that it's a water sign because I don't feel like that's a really productive thing. To like look at energy in our lives and just like discount things wholly. So I feel like the antagonist energy showing up here is more emotions, because I think that there's a tendency when things shift and change and we move from one place to another in our lives, be it energetically or literally, we can get into a place where we don't really give ourselves a moment to reflect and really just feel proud of ourselves or feel about the journey. And I feel like that's why, like, it's like almost this showing up in reverse, right? Like this neglect of this need to integrate emotions. And then the challenge today is sort of this advocating for yourself. It's like showing up in an advocating for yourself way. Like, how are you? And this reminds me of like, this reminds me of like first house stuff, like the I, me, my, or, like the ways. So I watched, there was, Christina Lope's video yesterday that was about the strawberry full moon, which was wonderful. And that video was like, I was like, why the hell does it feel like my cells are responding right now? But then I watched the other, it's like, I think it's like the North Node video. And I know some things about the North Node, but I watched it regardless because I was like, well, maybe I'll learn something new. And one thing that stuck out was she talked about forsaking herself, like never forsaking yourself. And I feel like this is like a card that's like that. Like it's not like pissed defensiveness. It's like looking at what's happening and advocating, standing up for yourself, but not from a perspective of like shouting at things, not like, it's like more of a perspective of manifesting. And that's why I think the Magician is here, right? Like this isn't a perspective of like, oh, I need to, screw everybody, I'm going to put up all these walls. No, it's like these are the things that these are my standards. And standards not in terms of expectations, but standards is in like, these are the bare minimums that I've created in my life for how someone is going to engage with me and what that is going to mean. And it's not to keep people out, it's to make sure that the right people get in that are willing to honor you so that you don't have to forsake yourself. I really liked that verbiage. It was like ding, ding, ding. Like I was like, oh, yeah. And being that I'm such a word nerd, I was like, that is the right word for it. But that reminds me of this, like this Aries energy of really taking care of yourself. And I feel like there's an aspect of this that you've got down, like you have that, but I think it's just maintaining. Like this is a bit of this, to me strikes me as like an effort energy, like an energy that includes some kind of externalization of effort, not necessarily motion, maybe beliefs in motion. But I feel like that's how this is the challenge is remembering this and holding tight to this. And the triumph over the challenge is the Magician, which is beautiful to me because I feel like this is manifestations coming to fruition because of this energy being, I don't want to say mastered, because I feel like for those of us for whom it will be like my Chiron is in the first house. So for me, I know that this is going to be a balance that I have to cultivate throughout a lifetime, right? That's the work of healing is never really done. Like there are certain things, there are ways you can heal aspects of harm done or hurt or things like that. But broadly speaking, there are ways that it's not going to be done. So holding yourself to that standard is really unfair, and it doesn't really do justice to your beautiful heart. Like, so I think that's where this is like, there are things coming to fruition, and the World card here tells me this even more so. Like, this is like the ending of cycles, which is apropos of the full moon energy, really. It just cycles ending, and then it's like you're off to the races, and it's like this new way of seeing yourself. I think a renewed sense of self, there's like a creative energy to this. Like I think about how fire sustains life. When I see Wands energy, like the Knight of Wands, I think about how fire sustains life, and it's not just creativity, but it's like the basis of like society as we know it. Like the basis of a lot of things that we like, we talk about, like anthropologically speaking, you could look at how fire was like the basis of community because people would gather around the fire, right? It feeds us, and even though we've harnessed it in ways through things like electricity and heat in winter and whatnot, at its base level, it brings people together. It's a community energy to me. I think I do have like a wealth of Aquarian energy in my chart, but still, I still feel like there's this way that it's like bringing these parts of you together. Like it's bringing these parts of you together. And I think that you're emerging. I don't want to say victorious because then that would imply this struggle that I don't really think has been there. I think this is just a beautiful unfolding. This is a beautiful unfolding of something. And honestly, making friends with your emotions, I think you are doing that. I think it's just being mindful to let yourself feel proud of you. Let yourself celebrate. And to celebrate yourself, but also to be celebrated. Like allow that, because that's an emotional aspect of yourself too, right? Like gratitude is one thing, but like letting people celebrate you, and letting yourself celebrate you is also an emotional capacity. That's an emotional availability too, right? Yeah. So this Knight of Wands, though, I think that's beautiful energy to be showing up in. It gets a bad rap, I think, but I think that it could be, I've said it in other readings where it's like this can also come across as energy that is like constantly on the go and like just, it's like, well, someone's got to do it. And that kind of like, ugh, but you're just going, right? And I feel like this energy is really, I think this is the healing of that cycle for you. Could be the healing of that cycle, but I think too, it's just a shift in a change in the wind, I suppose. This is also the victory loop. Like there's bigger energies at work than just the everyday, despite the number of minor arcana and court cards in this spread, I think. So we're going to clarify here. I need to move my legs. I don't know why, but so the weird thing, I've said this before, but I feel like a sea monkey on tea. Like it just, everything, like my shoe size went up, my shoe size increased, but your bones don't grow. It's the muscles and tendons and ligaments that either like elongate, and that's why if you do weightlifting, like I've had to kind of put that on pause for a bit, because I don't want to overdo it, which I'm known to do, and like you can actually snap your tendons and ligaments, so I'm trying to be very mindful of that, but it's just so weird, like cool but weird. But anyways, Spirit, can you please clarify this Knight of Wands in the world for today's reading for my creative collective, please, and thank you. 3. The Hierophant, Death, Queen of Pentacles. Whoops, sorry about that, my loves. I didn't want to bang your ear there. Strength and 2 of Pentacles. Dang. So I feel like this is transformative energy. Death is here. I love this card so much. This is like the representation that I feel like is best articulated. Like it's the transformative capacity, right? The transformative capacity of change. And I feel like this can be moving from a very fixed, the fixed signs are all here: Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo. But it's like the Hierophant represents, like, to me, institutions and stable footing. Like it's a stability, but it's a different kind of stability that I think that you've been reaching for. This is like institutional stability, belief stability. This is like a 9 of Pentacles stability. And I feel like you've been wanting or leaning towards stability with your connections. There's a lot of court cards or like related to activities and people cards here. And I think that this Queen of Pentacles is really the stability, like in someone else or within yourself, expressed outwards, or some way that you're bringing this in through work or projects, things like that. So I think that there's like a relational stability that you've been shifting from, this is very, the Hierophant is like stability in spiritual practices, a spiritual institution, right? Like when I was a kid, we would go to church every Sunday at 8 a.m., which is probably why I like cannot sleep in to save my life right now. But it's like, I think it's like it anchored the family in a way, right? It anchored things. And even now, like, when all of us get together on my dad's side of the family, there's like 50 of us all together. It's really, really amazing. And every Christmas, it's like the first weekend in December, every year, we start off dinner and like it's the, praying before we eat, and like the whole room doing it, because but it's just these things that anchor you, these traditions that anchor you, right? Sorry, I ramble a lot, but but that's where it's like, this is that institutional stability and perhaps like a spiritual practice. But then you're like, what about people stability? Like, how is that expressing itself? And I feel like that is, to an extent, what is transforming, and really giving you a sense of confidence and power, because you can see not like that it's coming. You don't want it to be like outside of you, but I feel like you're seeing signs of it, sprouting in your life. And I feel like that is a sense of confidence that it's giving you, because you're able to recognize now, like this, it's like you've done the work, right? You've done the self-advocacy work. You've done the first house work, I guess, of, and this is also fiery energy too, in terms of the first house. This is the Leo card, which is also a fixed sign. But I feel like this is about recognizing, where you're directing your energy. This is about you recognizing how all of that is not coming together, because I feel like that doesn't quite capture it. but you're able to recognize it outside of you because it's not just a spiritual practice. It's like a resonance it's a frequency that you're at now where you're able to see things differently because you are vibrating differently. Your frequency is different. Your set point internally is different. And that's a beautiful thing, right? That's a gorgeous thing. My cat, give me 1 second. She's trying to jump down here and up. Come on. Come here, baby. Oh. Why are you like a sack of potatoes? Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not body shaming. I'm not body shaming. Your body's beautiful, baby. Yes. Okay. So she's very like bottom heavy. I don't know if you can, you can just see them. Anyways, she's adorable. Why are you flipping my cards? So the Two of Pentacles is here too. But I think this is you recognizing it and you're seeing, this could be two ways that you're seeing it, right? Like this is also the removal of the walls, in terms of this Seven of Wands, where it's like, it's not walls that were up, but you were like, hey, like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm tending to myself. And it's not that you're not letting things in or through. I think it's like, there's like here, I'm picking up a feeling of like wanting to be, sure, but there's no certainty. And that's the Magician here, right? That's the Magician here. So it could be that something's caught your eye, and not in a way that's like here today, gone tomorrow, because that's not, I don't like that energy. And I'm also just not reading it in this, but I feel like the Nine of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and the Magician are here because there's something that you're calling forth. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective for this beautiful June 15th? Seven of Cups, Judgment, Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, one more, Two of Wands. Yeah. Ooh, my ear's ringing. So I'm getting here that there is, I think it's like the Seven of Cups here is representing all of the ways that you're seeing your energy externalized, especially with the Magician here. And this isn't to be like self-centered or anything like that. It's just you're seeing like it represents the options available to you, but it can also, I think it represents different ways that your energy is reflecting around you. 2 on the time. Oh, her motor is running. It is so sweet. It's purring for those who are not cat owners. But this is really just an energy of recognizing all of the ways that it's manifesting outside of you. And it's not that you need the validation. I don't think it's coming across as validation. I think it's helping you to step through portals and doors and make decisions that truly do honor you, right? It's like this Page of Pentacles is an offering to you of yourself. Like this is like, it's almost like the Page of Pentacles is you putting things out into the world, and people malign the page energy. But I feel like when you step through these portals and doors, you might be in a page energy, and that's okay. That's not reflective of what you have to offer, like at all, my dears, like not at all. This is reflective of putting things out there, and like, it's like dipping a toe in and then taking a step forward, right? It's doing that more than anything. And then this Knight of Pentacles, I think, is energy that shows up to match that. And this Two of Wands is you. It's like future planning, I think. It's sort of, I'm hearing, thank you, Spirit. I'm hearing the song I Choose You by Sarah Bareilles playing. Like this, this is the start of a lifelong love letter. Like that's the planning energy here. So that if somebody's looking for a relationship, it could possibly be in the cards. Oh my God, dad jokes this early. But that I think it's allowing you to make future plans. And if you're not in a relationship or looking for one, I feel like I should say, if you're not looking for one, I think this is more of an energy of an internal, like this is you facing outwards. This is you offering energy of yourself. And there's like energy that's coming in to match in terms of projects and work that you may take on, ways that you're seeing, if you have a business, like ways that you're seeing that. Because these are value propositions, right? These cards are value propositions. And I think that there's a way that you're understanding what you value differently. Not because you've changed fundamentally. I think it's just this work of being in your self-care, and like not indulgence, not like I'm gonna go and splurge on this thing, and because that's not, and that's like, that's okay, but also if it's going to upset your ability to feel stable in your life, that's not self-care, right? If you're going to do something like that and then it's just not right. So all of this aside, to say that there's a real self-care, not to say that there's an unreal self-care, but there's like something here that is actually stable making for you. And I think it has to do with you. It's not coming from the outside. I think it's coming from within you, but it's allowing you to look outward and to plan for a future. This could be the Two of Wands. It could be like a calling in, a soulmate energy, calling in work projects that make you feel like you can't imagine your life, like not without them, but like there's like there's a definite, like I'm seeing like this line between the before and after a project or work came into your life. Like it's something that's that tangible or palpable for you. So we have the Three of Pentacles and the Six of Swords, Four of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, the Empress, the Fool, Page of Swords. Okay, so on this particular spread, and the clarifying here, I'm getting that there's this sense of like what we're moving away from. And I really am getting this moving away from holding back, right? Like I said, the Two of Pentacles was showing up. Interestingly, these are showing up on walls. And the pentacle energy in this particular deck does for a period, right? Like they tend to weave together to form like a big picture. It's missing a 3 in between here, but it's like you can see the wall across it. And I think that there's a way that you're releasing. It's not a holding back, but I think it's like a belief that the Four of Pentacles was like not the best, but this is like the best of what you had experienced so far, and there's leaving all of it behind. And I think that's this Six of Wands, and then you kind of rise from that. Reminds me of like Phoenix energy, like rising from the ashes of that. Like there's some way that you're rising up from that experience, up and out and onward. And then this Page of Swords is really, I think this is another way that you're showing up and offering yourself. But this could also just be now you're ready. It's like taking in new information, taking in new light, taking in the newness of something. The newness of something. I don't know how to word this. It goes beyond curiosity, because now you're able to be curious, right? The Fool energy and leap. But there's something so deeply grounded about this Empress energy. Very grounded about it. And the Page of Swords it's like information finding, fact finding, yes, but I think it's also this energy of the Page of Swords is coming across interestingly in this reading. It's like a release. It's a kind of release. Yeah, it's a kind of release. It's almost like you're releasing yourself, and that's where this, like allowing yourself to look back and to feel gratitude, not just for where you've come from and the people who have participated, but gratitude for who you chose to be, right? At different junctures, I've had to do this, where it's like looking back and saying like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for where I've come from, but I'm really grateful that I made choices that allowed me to understand that a different potential for my life was there, right? A lot of that is potentially privilege. I know that I have some privilege, but there's a lot of ways that I, socioeconomically didn't necessarily, but there's choices that we can always make, right? And I think that it's important to reflect on them. It's important to reflect on them and to feel grateful for who you have become too, right? Like don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of that either. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for June 15th? My cat is making eyes at me. Yes. The King of Wands is showing up here on this Four of Swords. could be a King of Wands coming in. Or King of Wands energy, I should say. Five of Cups. Queen of Swords. Eight of Swords. Four of Swords again. Seven of Wands. A lot of these are clarifiers. That is hilarious to me. So I see that what I'm seeing here is this is really the story of the release. And I think the journey that you had to go through, I think the Five of Cups here is showing up as more of a reflection energy as opposed to what's happening right now. Because there is the Two of Cups here. Like that's the given, right? And I think it's not about, I don't think I am of the firm belief that you can't miss out on something that's truly meant for you, right? And not to say like leave people hanging or anything like that. It's not like that. I think that this is more you reflecting on, and it strikes me as more of an intentional release of energy that was keeping you from seeing a Two of Cups. And I think that's very in keeping with this World card here, and also just the energy of this full moon, right? So I think this is energy that and then look at the spiral energy in that portal, very reminiscent of this. It's almost like that's what's behind the door is you seeing you, releasing what isn't serving you so that you can access this Two of Cups. Because you're able to focus on it. It could be related to a King of Wands. The Queen of Swords here is, I think this is the clarifying energy, right? This is getting very clear about things that kind of kept you stuck. And it's, it is a healing energy of that. That's getting clear on what kept you stuck, getting clear on what left you in this Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords showed up again while clarifying this particular spot in this particular row, because I think that you're clarifying the rest, you're clarifying the journey, you're clarifying being in this like not protective energy but boundaried energy, right? And not bounded or bondage, but like an energy that is like, these are the parameters of who I am. This is where I end and begin, and this is where you end and begin. And that can get really messy and tangled up in relationships. Because, even in friendships, I've gone through this where I've had to really release people. And it's not, I don't malign it. It just, it happened the way that it did, because it got to a point where it was like, I was, you can be held responsible for someone's happiness. And then we can also do this within ourselves too, and expect others to respond to us in a way that is, not comforting. It goes beyond that, but it hides out in words like comfort and, and not reassurance, but kind of like, it's like if it were to be like on steroids, right? Like, because reassurance says like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit off and I know that you can't do this for me. I have to do this for me. But I'm just feeling unstable, in this foundation. And I'm trying to think through why, because I know the feeling, but I'm trying to understand. And I don't, it's not making them responsible, but it's communicating where you're at. So there's like that difference, right? There's a difference in that communication. And conversations like that are 3 3 3 3 on the time. What do you know? All the threes. But it's like communicating that energy without making people responsible for you is a big deal. And I think that you've really been in that energy. And I think it's like a healing of perhaps past patterns. So the King of Cups, the Five of Swords. I don't think this is a taking energy so much as it is, you may have not really trusted your emotions, right? Because this was the antagonist position. So this is showing up as something that we need to really sink into and trust, not just today, but upcoming. And it could be that people have talked you out of it before. Like this is like they've logicked you out of your emotions. And again, I've had, experiences like that in relationships and friendships, not to be on the low vibe side of things, because it really, I can't say that I showed up any more authentically than they did, right? That's just about taking ownership for that dynamic. But it's also, I think here, the reason why I'm using this as an example is because this Five of Swords is like not trusting yourself and your instincts, your emotional instincts. And I think it's really important to trust that, right? I had a moment yesterday where I watched something and I was like, well, shit, that's a knowing for sure. Like it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was a moment of like, nope, I just know. I don't know how, but I just know, right? Those feelings. And I think that when you have those feelings, it's important to trust them because they don't always make sense. But this Five of Swords tells me that you might try to talk yourself out of them. And you don't have to make things make sense right away because often time does that. Time and divine timing does that. So it's important just to recognize them and to be in them, right? Just to recognize them and be in them. Befriend your emotions. Five of Swords, Six of Pentacles. There's the balance, the Emperor. Five of Wands, Ace of Cups. Beautiful. Queen of Cups, King of Cups. Holy shit. Justice, the Magician. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm like seeing this whole big ass story, but we're gonna do this and the Queen and King of Cups here. So this is to me, and then we'll do the. Okay. You know what? We'll leave it up as a thing. Justice. Okay. Oh boy. So, sorry, I get carried away when I'm reading these because I get so excited when I see energy like this because I'm like, man, if this resonates for someone, what a freaking journey they've been on. And it just makes me feel so excited for them. So, yeah. So we have the Six of Pentacles, which is, I think, a really beautiful balancing of energies. And this is like a grounded way of experiencing emotions, a grounded offering of emotion. It's not like, it's like surpassing this, whatever this need may have been to not trust your emotions, because sometimes they can reveal truths to us that aren't, that leave us not trusting where we are, right? Because if we're in any kind of relationships, like family, friends, romantic, what have you, where we're outside of integrity with ourselves, when we trust our emotions, it brings us back into integrity. But if there's something happening that we don't want to acknowledge or deal with or handle or manage or whatever, we can push it all away because we assume, we look to what's going to have to change. And so we can create this like dissonance where we just don't show up for ourselves. But I think the Six of Pentacles is a balancing of that. Look at this. She is so sweet. Look at this little paw. Hey. My goodness. I know. Okay, I'll leave it there. So this is, sorry, she and I have conversations. This is, I think, a beautiful balancing of that energy for you. Beautiful. And I think the reason why is then it shows up, you show up as the Emperor, which we were talking about that first house, that Seven of Wands energy, where you're like stepping into your power. And then this is you in your power, right? This is what it looks like when you do that. This is what it looks like when you do. This could be, entrepreneurial energy as well, but I feel like this is more just the coming together of you, like you landing right in your body, right where you are, present moment awareness. Like it's just this beautiful, like chef's kiss of that's exactly what it's supposed to feel like, right? That empowered, just that sense of empowerment. And I think that it's really the product. This is why you need to be, whoa, okay, 7 thoughts just went through my head at the same time. I think this is important, an important reminder, and something you have to keep in mind right now is that you getting to this Emperor position did not just happen. Like it wasn't like the turning of the wheel. This was because you put in the training, and it was like training, right? Like you put in the work. There's an Eight of Pentacles that is an aspect of work, yes. But I feel like this is you putting in the training and the effort to make that happen. And then it could be like, I feel like this is like, love meets you on the path. Your heart is overflowing now because it's not from a place of, it's this beautiful overflow. It's this beautiful overflow. And I think it's like, oh, okay. She's on the move. Oh, it's fine. I'm just doing a tarot reading. You're good. Thanks. Oh my gosh. She's the sweetest. So the Ace of, what are you doing? What are you doing, kiddo? Huh? She's knocking stuff over because she's rubbing her face on it. So this Ace of Cups here is showing up in a way that to me symbolizes either romantic love or like a love of life, like that joie de vivre that you're just tapping into again. Like it's like you've connected to it, bits and pieces here and there, but then you're realizing that this Ace of Cups is part of who you are, and that is finding expression out in the world. That is finding its expression as well in like coming to you. Like it's this beautiful reciprocal exchange where the energy you're putting out is coming back because you're in the Emperor energy of boundaried self-love and appreciation, self-care and appreciation. And again, I'm quite inclined to believe that this is a counterpart energy because the King and Queen of Cups are here. This could also just be the integration of energies within you. But I do feel like this is, I think somebody, I'm hearing mirroring, just the water and the reflection. Maybe someone's mirroring you. Could be twin flame related. But I feel more so that this is like a connection or a way that you are connecting to yourself more deeply that is making more of you available. If this is a long-term relationship that you're in, or you're in a, if this is related to work, it's like more of you becomes available when you step into that place of self-appreciation and self-love and doing it from a place of self-care. And this is quite lovely. I think that it's interesting because this feels like such a deep storyline. And so then we have the Justice card on the bottom, which in this deck is like an Ace of Swords. And it was the Justice card and the Magician on the bottom there. And I feel like this is like a manifestation of truth for you. And that's where it's lovely because the energy of this it goes so deep, but it's such a simple story, which is the best kind, to be honest. Yeah, it's lovely. It's quite lovely. But I think it's a reminder, like it's like, do you remember or know how lovely you are? Like, just, do you remember that loveliness in your everyday? Where do you remember it? Where does it come to life for you? How do you, don't seek it out. Just, it's like life just walking past you and, just caressing your cheek and just being in awe of you being you. Oh, my cat's coming back. Come here, baby girl. Come on. You can do it. I know it's small, but you can do it. Come on. She just hesitates and waits because she just needs to make sure that everyone's watching. Hey. Nope. Okay. She'll do it at another time. That's fine. So I really do get that it's just like allowing life to surprise you and be as tender with you as maybe you have been with other people. Just like letting life go. Oh, there she goes. Oh, okay. I think it's just allowing life to be tender with you and stepping into that. The refrain keeps coming to mind, so I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but it's a beautiful broken record. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for June 15th? Okay. I heart you. See, this is maybe some love coming in. I feel like it's grounded though. Like it's not disconnected. It's not like making promises that it can't keep, right? Which is like a big pet peeve of mine. Although I realize the semantics of that, there's like a lot to unpack there. So I'm not making that blanket statement without understanding the nuances. So I heart you. Spirit, what other messages do you have for my daily creatives for this mighty fine Wednesday, or day of Wednes, as I sometimes call it? It's not only about being right. Yeah. I think this is, so something that just came to mind was having that knowing yesterday. And like, it felt like every fiber of my being when I just let it wash over me. And I was just, it's very hard to explain this. But it's like the point is not to be right about the knowing. The point is the connection to your intuition. The point is the heart space that you've cultivated to allow the information to flow through. That's the point. The information and the things show up on the path, 444 on the time. Things show up on the path because it's symptomatic of where you are and what your frequency has been at and the work that you've been putting into caring for yourself. So just understand that those intuitive hits, it's not only about being right. And I think that's really important because that is kind of like attachment, right? It's attachment to the answers to things looking a specific way. So Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please, to finish off this reading? My positive energy leaves a powerful impression on the world. Yes, it does. My positive energy leaves a powerful impression on the world. I like that a lot. And I think that this like freeing up of your heart space allows you to shine. But it's not a shining, like you're not like holding a torch. Like you're not out there like holding a torch and doing a whole lot. You're just being you. And that's really important energy. I welcome abundance and I will pay attention to the guidance I receive. Right? It's not only about being right? This is about feeling connected and it being so delicious. And like, I think about it in terms of like friskiness. Like cats get so playful. Like this little bean, she'll get the zoomies and just like run, down the hall, back and forth, just exuberant or filled with joy or whatever. But she's just, it's like that friskiness that you can embody or that lands in your body because there's a deeper sense of play. So I welcome abundance and I will pay attention to the guidance I receive. And keep in mind, this isn't about the acquisition of abundance because it's already around you. The guidance you receive is not about being right about the manifestation. It's about leading you towards joy. It's about leading you towards openness. It's about leading you towards understanding that abundance has never been an absence. It is the most consistent presence in your life. So just remember that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk today. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, this is your reading, my darling. So I hope that this resonated. If it did, please like and subscribe. It helps me to continue to grow this channel, which has been growing kind of steadily. So thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me. I really appreciate it. You can connect with me in other ways too, but if this is where we part, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.